it was a game that you purchased right off the bat. And something like that, I think, is what we're bound to end up seeing. I mean, Steam just implemented like the Steam trading portion of the Steam platform, which I guess allows people to trade stuff back and forth, trade gifts and items and all that fun stuff between members. So they're definitely setting up their platform for carrying this microtransaction stuff and these gifts and various items into the future with their game. So we're going to see something with Dota 2. I
want a hat on Tidehunter. Top hat.
Yeah, everything's really in the details at this point and how they actually implement it. And as far as I'm concerned, if whatever they do has no effect on the actual gameplay itself, then I couldn't care less.
Essentially, what Heroes of Newerth started out as, essentially.
Yeah.
What they promised us.
Failed horribly, yeah.
What they promised us.
I got a question for you guys. Do you guys think Ice Frog would allow anything like that to happen? I mean, you say he's so into the competitive
okay,
scene.
if he had 100% control, which that's what I'm assuming at this point, because it feels like they're just blowing him left and right, So I feel like he does have control, because, I mean, he's the one that essentially made the game popular. So if that's the case, then there is no way that it'll be anything close to the same model that League of Legends has or Heroes of Newerth now has.
I don't think he necessarily has 100% control, but I think he has enough input to actually control whether something like that would be added. I'm sure he conceded other points, but to keep the game, the top hat probably is not going to be in the game.
Actually, I think it actually is in the game.
Yeah, I'd bet more on that than a lot of the other things that have been discussed in these forums. But anyways, we'll just have to see in the coming months what they actually decide to do. But more in the short term, I think there's some fun beta news, but I don't think we're talking about that yet, are we?
That's next. Jumping the gun on me, Xeno. Basically, I wanted to talk to you guys, and we talked about this a little bit before we started the podcast, so I know at least SUNSfan has some pretty heavy stuff to drop on us, but there's been a lot of back and forth about the release date on the beta, and everyone wants to say that they know when it is, they know when it's coming, but what do you guys think?
So
what have you heard,
we got some inside information from people
who will remain nameless. Basically, I think the original announcement was for next week that the beta would be out, which I think that's a little too early. They're not going to make that. So it's going to be late September, very early October, something like that.
I feel like we should just do what all the companies do. Be like, sometime in Q4 2011, some point.
Well, that's basically what it
Valve
is.
Time.
Well, Valve Time would make that add a year to
I know. So
Valve
hopefully
Time
not Valve Time.
Plus Windows Minute.
It's going to come out when Episode 3 for Half-Life comes out.
Well, keep in mind that also the initial beta is going to be 100,000 people, and who knows if they're going to open it up publicly past that, which I'm assuming they will eventually, and then eventually, sell it.
The one thing, I guess, that seems strange to me is if you're rolling out a beta for a game, and, I mean, this is going to put some sort of substantial load onto your servers and everything like that, if you don't kind of phase it in a little bit. And I know that from what I've seen, there's like a Gabe Newell quote saying, there's gonna be like 100,000 users going into this beta and all that. I mean, that's a pretty substantial amount of people getting onto Steam and downloading the files for the game and all that stuff. And at the same time, from what I heard for the newer Counter-Strike Go game, they were planning on doing the beta, I think, starting in October as well. So for me, not staggering those two games seems a little bit odd. So I imagine whatever we see, I would expect just based off of, if it's true that Counter-Strike Go is gonna roll into beta in October at some point. If I was Valve, and I'm not, then I would be trying to at least start this Dota 2 thing a little bit earlier to kind of distribute that server load and all those users and whatnot a little bit better than maybe trying to do both those at the same time.
Well, I'm wondering if they're going to do something like Blizzard did, where and the only reason I know this is I follow Day9, who's a StarCraft caster, and he announced the other day that he got a beta key for Diablo 3, and I was super excited because he was going to stream it, and then he made an announcement saying that he got the beta that you're not allowed to stream. And I know because I've already watched a couple other people who have the beta that evidently you're allowed to stream. It's like one dungeon. So I'm wondering if they're going to be doing that for Dota. Like some of the higher tier teams may get a little bit more access than people in the beta are going to, and that would at least control some of that traffic you're talking about a little bit better.
Oh, quite simply, I don't think that's really possible if you're going to do a beta for a game like Dota 2, because what you really want to test is all these different interactions between players at different skill levels, between different heroes, and you can't just say like, oh, we're only going to give people, access to some of the heroes, because then you don't really get to have that true feeling of actually doing a beta test. The point of a beta test is it's basically it's testing out every facet of the game before release, and Diablo 3 is not really to that point yet. It's more in the earlier stages, whereas I feel like this rollout of the beta, I mean, it's already been in quote-unquote beta for a while, so this is kind of the major one step closer to an open beta before release kind of thing.
I think it's going to be like Heroes of Newerth, where some people do have access to a couple of heroes that are being alpha tested. That's not even the right terminology because they're still in beta, but I think you can't. They're not gonna, because they're gonna be tournaments going on. It's not like they're gonna put in a hero that's breaking the game. You know what I mean? So there's gonna be a little bit of interaction that way as well.
Well, we'll have to see. So expect that. Hopefully, I mean, it's Valve, people, so we never know. But evidently, late September, early October. We're hoping.
Yes, I promise.
Cross your fingers.
Promises.
If
any
that's
of you
a promise
get,
from SUNSfan. So
it really is. If any of you get a beta key for me, people that are listening, that is, I will do things for it.
Yeah,
I'm willing
I'll
to
record it. I'll watch.
I'm willing to have sex with an orifice of your choice. I think that's the terms we're going with.
what if they want to have sex with an orifice of their choice? Greeted by silence. All right, moving on. Last time when we did the first podcast, we did something. We didn't know if we were going to do it every single podcast, but it was pretty. People seem to like it, so we're going to keep that going. Where we basically we pick a hero that we like from original Dota, and basically we introduce them to you so that you get all excited and pumped about them. If you don't know Dota, it's a good way to kind of get a heads up on what you're in store for. And for us, it's just fun. So take it away, guys. Whoever's
Snoopy,
first.
More like what you're missing out on.
Snoopy, go! Alright, the hero I picked this time, I decided to stray away from the strength heroes because we did like 2 of them or 3 of them last time. So I went with an intelligence hero because last one we had kind of sucked.
True. So true.
How dare you?
Keeper
of the Light is a viable competitive hero.
Alright, whatever. Alright, well the hero I picked this time was the twin-headed dragon, Jakiro.
Such a good hero.
He's a lot of fun to play. He really is. He's good fun because he has a well, I'll just start with his first breath. It's called his first skill. It's called dual breath. Basically, he shoots out an icy blast and then a fire blast. Each dealing initial damage, and then if they're hit by both of them, they get a slow and they'll take fire damage. Level 4, it does 140 damage per breath and 20 fire damage per second, and that lasts for 4 seconds. His second skill is Ice Path, which is also pretty sweet. It's like a long-range immobilize, I would say. It's not really a stun, is it?
It is. Well, actually, I don't
is.
know. It's like Myrmidon's thing. I would think.
Alright. But it doesn't do any damage. Starts off with a pretty... Oh no, they changed it. When I played, the casting range was smaller. I guess they recently buffed it when I was away from Dota.
It's really long now.
Yeah,
That's what
it
she
used
said.
to be shorter. It used to be much
So
shorter.
she said as well.
But creates an ice path in front of Jakiro. After 0.5 seconds, the path explodes and freezes nearby enemy units. Has 1100 range. It's a good size stun. And at level 4, it stuns for 2 seconds, immobilizes for 2 seconds. They are completely disabled. The same property as stun. Says it right there. Liquid Fire, which is a passive, straight from the belly of the beast. Jakiro slowly harnesses liquid fire when he attacks to burn his victims, 175 AoE, and slow their attack. Level 4, lasts for 5 seconds, has a 5-second cooldown, it does 25 damage per second, and a 50% attack speed reduction. And his ultimate, which is actually a little annoying to hit, from what I remember, he unleashes a line of pulsing flame strikes in front of him, each flame strike dealing damage per 5 seconds, and has 225 AoE.
If you can actually land it, it's amazing.
It is. But from what I remember, it was really slow.
Yeah.
You can think of it more like for you people to play Han, it's as if Bombadier's ult and he has staff and minus the bombs, so just kind of the napalm afterwards. But he shoots that out at people.
Yeah, with an Aghanim Scepter, I believe that the range is increased, yeah. And what else is increased? The damage. Does 225 damage per second with Aghanims, and 9 Flame Strikes, but normally it'll do 180 damage per second, 6 Flame Strikes, and a 900 range.
Yeah, that was a fun hero. His passive, I really like this passive.
Yeah, his passive was really strong in lane.
Everything about that hero, and his dual breath, one of the things I remember, I don't know if they've changed it since, but I remember there were times when you'd hit them with one but miss the second, because they don't come out at the same time.
Yeah. It says right here it has a 0.4 second interval between each breath.
So every once in a while you'll catch them on fire, but you'll miss the slow, which can be annoying, but it was also fun because you could literally spin a little bit, hit them with the fire, and catch a bunch of people to your side with the ice.
It also made him a jukeable hero,
Very.
Jukeable?
Hey.
Jukeable.
Hey.
Alright, anyway, I'm guessing I'm next. I will
Xeno, you want to go?
Screw you, Reaves. I will probably pick a strength hero for every single one of these segments because I'm obsessed with strength heroes in Dota. So this one, I was going to do Panda, which I'll probably, not to give any spoilers, probably do that next week because that was one of my favorites, but had a lot of people ask me to do Undying, who is also known as Dirge, basically a zombie melee strength hero. And he was actually really unique. I remember when he came out, I was like, wow, this is a crazy hero. I've never seen mechanics like this before. His first skill is called Decay. It's basically a small AoE that you cast on an enemy unit, and it basically steals their strength for a certain amount of strength over a certain amount of time. So, for example, at level 4, it'll steal 4 strength and deal 160 damage